Hi everyone, welcome back to the second installment of our ReactJs learning series. Today we are going to start the understanding our core concepts. In previous video we have give some light on these topics, but let's delete this file. Today we are going to learn what is functional components and what is class-based component. So let's get started. What are functional components? Functional components are simple JavaScript functions. For example, let me create a new component for you. Here inside this folder we will create a new file called greetings.js. Here we are going to define something like we have to import the React. It should be the first line in any of your ReactJs components from React. Then simple in as you do in JavaScript, here also you will define our JavaScript functions same way as we do in our JavaScript functions. So here is our functional component, but until it returns from itself, it's not going to work because it must have to return something from itself. Then only we can say it is a component or rendering something. Here you will do something like prop dot name. I will tell you what it is later. In this example I save it. We will have to export it because without export you will not be able to use it anywhere into your code. This way what we did here, let me again describe. The greeting component is a function that receives props as a parameter and return a JSX element. Later videos I will describe you more brief about JSX syntax and how to use that. But now let's keep in mind, greeting component is a function that receive props and return a JSX element. Here is the JSX element. Why it is JSX? Because it is the shorthand HTML we are using. JSX is mostly used for that thing, and we have imported React. You will have to use it into your application. I have already started our server since previous application. What we will do, we will use this inside app.js. How we will use that? So we can do import. There is two kind of imports, named import and default import. When you export something with default keyword, you can import it with any word of your choice. But when you export something like this way, I will show you the syntax how it's open. But if you do like this way, you will have to just use that word like greeting fix. But right now it is default, so we can do anything from file. Where is the file? Go to the folder. Okay, sorry, it is on the same level, components / the greetings file. Save it. How you will use this function based component on your code? I'm going to remove this whole thing from here. Okay, I saved it. You can see here it will go away. It's compiled, go away. Now here I will use my component. You can see this way you can use it. Nothing happening or just hello, because we have not passed the prop value. If you see here, you will have to pass prop and the name property. How you will pass that? Props is the global object on the component. You just need to pass something like this. Save it. Go to your browser window. You see, it is the most basic example I can describe to you. We created a functional component which is having props as parameter and returning a JSX element. Now let's get back to class-based component. Okay, we will create another component. What we can give the name? Okay, I'm just using some generic. What's here? Let me rename it to match the hierarchy which I am holding. Lowercase names. Now here you can define your class like this: import React React, comma, there is a class component and from React. Now we will create class like this way, class hello extends component. What component? Which is we have imported. Then okay, there is two way. If you want to import it this way, then you can also do, otherwise just remove it. We have already React, then we can use it like this way, react.component. Okay, there is multiple ways to do this thing. So classes are same like we previously doing in JavaScript, but to make it a ReactJs class, you will have to extend the react.component. I hope it's clear. In functions component we were using return, but here you can use render. You will have to use render here. Here you can also use your JSX. Hello again. Okay, typos. Hello. Sorry. Again, and here you can do like, there is a different syntax than function based components. They have a bit of shorter syntax, but here you will have to write a bit longer syntax. Okay, I save it, go a bit down, export default our class hello. I save it. Again, how you will import it into your code? So go to your code. Here you can do something like import okay, import hello from, I do common mistakes again and again, component, then your file hello. Now same way as function component, you can also call it. Okay, hello again, but again we have to pass. We can do, I will do it a bit change, hello Amit or hello user. One is coming from function based component, one is coming from function based component, one is coming from class based component. Directly here you can compare, like function based component has a less line of code. When I compare it to, like, also in terms of word or character count, they are less when we compare them to class based components. One thing also, there is no inheritance working, but here we are extending the class to make it compatible with ReactJs. So those are major difference and major, we can say, the syntax changes there. Okay, so I didn't describe it to you. Getting class extends React components, then render method returns JSX, and this .prop is used to access the props. Simple. There is some lifecycle methods in terms of class based component which we can see here. Like in previous example, I told you some class based the lifecycle methods. I told you initialization phase, which is here. I will mark them for you. Initialization. If I do any typos, please pardon me. Cons, C-O-N-S, constructor. I will describe you. Wait for a minute. Constructor, then props. You will have to mark your props as super to give them the global access to use at later time. Now you will do something like do this dot state. Don't take too much stress, just try to understand what I am doing. What it is nothing but a object. Okay, object doesn't have equals to, so this is nothing but a object holding the state of the application, or we can say the component itself. States are local, they are not super, or we can say the as a global to your application, but I will teach you how you can make them global level variables. So this is your initialization phase where you can define your component store kind of like data you can define here. This is initialization phase. The second life cycle was component did mount. Okay, this is the second life cycle method in class based components. Keep in mind, you are not going to use this life cycle methods in function based component. There are different syntax which I will teach you later. So On this point here you will do console.log component mounted. Let me show you. I hope it's reloaded. Let me open the console. Component mounted. It is first, like this is actually steps 1, 2, 3, but how actually the code works. Okay. Second one was component did update. It actually has two options, like we can say two parameters, previous props and previous state. Console.log, you can see component updated. It actually what it do, it compares your state in your props to previous values. If it satisfy the condition, like yeah, data is changed, then only it run, otherwise it doesn't run. What is the third one? The fourth one, component will unmount. This is the all I described in last lecture. Initialization, did mount, did update, will unmount. If I described you anything else more than this, so in previous versions of ReactJs there was more lifecycle. There are like 6 to 7 lifecycle methods was there, but in recent updates they got removed, so they are depreciated now. We can't use them. Here we can again do console.log component will unmount. I will show you how these things work. So let's create a method increment. Okay, we are using the arrow function syntax. Here what you can do, you can update the state value. Okay, how we will do this? So count value will going to update with this dot state dot count plus 1. What we do, at initialization we have defined a state inside this dot state object. Now this is the method to update a state. Okay, this dot set state and this dot state for accessing, this dot set state is for updating the values. With one we will run this method with something. For example, let's remove this one. We will render we are starting to render. We can do return, and inside return we can do our some coding, like there should be a div inside which we are going to display our count value, like this one, count, and this dot state dot count. Below that we will define a button, because we are going to run this method on something. Okay, button dot on click. What we will do, this dot increment. Okay, close the button. There should be something label to click on, increment. Just save it. Right now here I will reload it again for you to show you what things are displaying. Component mount, unmount, mount, because there is some data getting changed. Now clear it. Count is 0 right now. If we do 1, component updated. From where it is coming? From here. Why? Because the props and states are getting compare directly inside this method, lifecycle method, because this state is getting changed. So this is doing this console log. I think pretty much for this one. Is there anything else we can do? Okay, yeah, so let's get back to function based component. How you will achieve your lifecycle, we can say lifecycle methods or lifecycle hooks. So for that there is a hook. If there is something having a keyword at the start, like use, okay, keep in mind, like this state is having a use. Okay, so this becomes a hook by default into ReactJs. You can define them anywhere, but this is comes inbuilt or predefined with ReactJs. So we will use it. In previous example you see how we are initializing our state, but in function based component, why they were introduced? To simplify the coding into ReactJs, like directly you need to do count comma set count and equals to use state, the default value will be 0. Simple as that. This whole syntax is similar, 100% similar to this one. This is one line, this is 1 2 3 4 5, you have to write 6 line, there is single line. This is the callback for this one. We can update the value of count with this method. I will teach you how. So use state, and there is one more use effect, which is actually a callback. Okay, use state is used for initializing a state. Use effect will be used for achieving the lifecycle methods inside our ReactJs function based components. Okay, so here is the basic syntax of your use effect. Use memo, use effect, use callback. There is multiple hooks. Okay, like this way, use callback and use memo. I will next lectures I will try to describe you this methods, but now let's keep focus on this one. What is this one? Use effect is a callback. It is used to achieve the lifecycle methods. These lifecycle methods all can get achieved in single this method. How? Here component did mount. It's like if your this array body is having nothing, then it will treat it as component did mount. If there is something like here we can say the count, we are passing this count is here. Whenever the value of this count will change, this function body will rerun. So this is comes into this lifecycle method. Whenever something change, component did update triggers. Same way this use effect will trigger whenever something change in terms of count, and component will unmount. It's like you have to use the return syntax here. Return, if you define something here, that will be treated as the component will unmount lifecycle. So that's all about it. Now I will tell you more about it. Sorry, a bit of syntax we should. I hope the video is getting long, but let's stick to the topic. Console.log. Here you can say like component mounted or updated. Okay, updated is like when the count will update, it will run. When nothing is passed into the array body, then it will be work like that. So let's try, and please keep in mind you should not be do something on state directly, otherwise it will go inside the render hell. The code will become accessible, because that can cause the system failure. So while using something, please be aware of what you are doing or what you are trying to do. Here, as I showed you previously, like if we do something inside the return block, that will trigger when the component is going to unmount. Component will unmount. That's it. Let's pass count here, and we will again have to do same thing here. Like from previous one, let's remove this one, otherwise okay, you will see the duplicate code. Here we will do something similar. You see how you also don't need to use too much of divs or something. You can just use this empty these brackets, which will not create an extra div into DOM. Now we can say like ptag with showing count. Okay, no, we are okay. Let's see here. There we were trying to access the state with this dot state then name. There is nothing. Just simply copy your state name and pass it here. Okay, count is here. Nothing too much. Then you can same way you can define the button on. Sorry, auto syntax doing the causing the issues. Here you have to do something like this. Set count. What is the set count? This is the callback we defined while defining our state. Here you can do count plus 1. What it will do, set count will run, will update this 0 to whatever value. What is the initial value of count? 0. 0 plus 1, here becomes 1, the count will be 1. It updated, it will rerun this logic because it is getting update. If it is not updating, this is not going to work anyway. It will not trigger until this value get changed. Keep in mind what I am saying. Try to remember this thing. increment, increment. Let's save this, get back to your code. You see count increment, let me remove it. I click this component will mount and component mounted or updated. Why this run? Because the app is updating its state, component mounted or updated. This is not running because when it will be unmounted, like a pop-up, a model window, those gets unmounted, that time it will trigger this one. When to use functional components versus class-based components? So functional components are preferred for their simplicity and performance. Class-based components are still used in older code bases but are less common in modern React development because they have a much larger code base, which may become a bit complex to understand for new developers. And due to the simplicity and performance of functional based components, we mostly use them in modern development right now. With hooks, functional components can do everything that class component do. I described you, like here is, you can see this much code you have to do, but only this function can handle everything. So that's what I was trying to define you. So I think that's it for now. Please do practice, make notes, and be prepared for the next video. Thanks for watching. See you all in the next video. Yeah, thank you.